Welcome to the concluding valedictory session of our 3-day ninth National Conference. Our chief guest, Dena Merriam, has come all the way from New York. I welcome our chief guest, Dena Merriam, and her friend Parvati Marcus. May I request Dena to please comment? Please. It's a privilege to introduce Dena Merriam. She is the founder and convener of Global Peace Initiative of Women and the founding member of the Contemplative Alliance. I was just discussing the role of women and how I've been trying to have a good mix of men and women in the conference. So that is how I get connected to her. Dena Merriam is the founder and convener of Global Peace Initiative of Women, GPIW, bringing spiritual resources to address critical global challenges such as conflict, social justice, and ecological scarring of the earth. Over the years, she has worked to bring greater gender balance and balance between the Abrahamic and Dharma-based religious traditions for a more inclusive interfaith movement. Merriam served as vice chair for the Millennium World Peace Summit of Religious and Spiritual Leaders held at the United Nations in New York in the year 2000. She subsequently convened a meeting of women religious and spiritual leaders at the Allied Nations in Geneva, and from that gathering she founded the Global Peace Initiative of Women in 2002. Among GPIW's many programs is the organization of a session on the inner dimension of the climate change at the annual UN Climate Summits. In 2008, Dena Merriam was one of the founding members of the Contemplative Alliance, which later became a program of GPIW to explore how meditation and contemplative practices are reshaping the spiritual landscape of our societies. For over 40 years, Dena Merriam has been a devotee of Paramahamsa Yogananda, a practitioner of Kriya Yoga meditation, and a student of the great text of Vedic tradition. She received her master's degree from Columbia University in Sacred Literature. She has served on the boards of Harvard Center for the Study of World Religions, the Interfaith Center of New York, the International Center for Religion and Diplomacy, Manitou Foundation, and our All India Movement for Seva, Aim for Seva, the Gross National Happiness Center in Bhutan, and as an advisor to the board of Dharma Drum Mountain Buddhist Association. In 2014, she received the Nibbano Peace Prize for her interfaith peace efforts. She is the author of My Journey Through Time, a spiritual memoir of life, death, and rebirth, and the untold story of Sita, an empowering tale of her time. Could I ask Divyangsi to offer a bouquet to our chief guest? This way. This is a very brief introduction of Dena. She has come to India and she has just touched Rishikesh. She'll be going to Varanasi. She's having a big conference for maybe a week or 10 days on various things. She'll be talking about her program. Could I have that? As I had told you that we honor such people who have contributed immensely to the world peace, preservation of culture, literature, art form. So we have been honoring them. So Ārsha Vidyā Vikās Kendra, we feel privileged. A small token of our appreciation to Dena Merriam. It says, on the occasion of its 9th National Conference, in recognition of your contribution to the domain of Indian culture, dharma, seva and global peace, Ārsha Vidyā Vikās Kendra confers the Samman Ārsha Vidyā Bharati on Dena Merriam. May I ask Sanghimitra to...
I started working in the interfaith world about 20 years ago. That's when I met Dayanandaji. And it was a very imbalanced interfaith world, mostly Abrahamic dominated, and there were very few women. So this imbalance I saw was leading to many misperceptions and was a big problem. So I thought, well, my contribution could be to try to rebalance by bringing in the Dharma traditions and the voices of women. And so I set out to find the women. And as I got more deeply involved in this work, I saw that my interest really was in focusing on the Hindu tradition and trying to bring out the wisdom within our tradition, because it's very much needed in the world right now as we see the tremendous imbalances. And then as I got in deeper, taking many pilgrimages throughout the Himalayas and coming to India 2-3 times a year, I became very absorbed in the story of Sita. And I had read the Ramayana when I was a young adult, many years ago. But 3 years ago I was organizing a conference on how to uphold Dharma in the world today, and in Varanasi. And after the conference was over, and I thought we really need to talk more about Dharma, because this whole yoga movement that's taken off in the West and all over the world, and the mindfulness movement, it's not based on Dharma, it's based on stress reduction. It's about how can I feel a little bit better, how can I deal with the stresses of life. And it shouldn't just be about how can I help myself, how can I help society. So we have to bring the concept of Dharma into this yoga movement and the mindfulness movement. So I organized the first of several conferences that we've done now on how can we understand Dharma in the context of our world today. And then after the conference, I took a pilgrimage to Ayodhya. This was 3 years ago, and then to Vaishno Devi. And that had a profound effect on me, and I realized that there's so much about our understanding of Sita that we need to revisit the whole story. And that's why I've organized this conference and written this book on Sita, especially with the ecological crisis that we now face. Because it's one of the story of Sri Ram and Sita took place during the Treta Yuga. India is blessed in that we still carry the memory of this higher age. This was an age when there was balance in the society. There was ecological balance, there was gender balance, there was balance. And so in order to rebalance our society, if we can recapture those memories of that time, of the Treta Yuga, when we lived more harmoniously with the rest of life, that is what we are called to do right now. And so along with that, my interest has been in bringing together young ecologists, young people in their 20s and 30s, working in some field of ecology or climate change, to help them come from a deep place to awaken their spiritual resources. Because to work in the field of ecology without awakening the love, just to see it as a technological or economic or even ecological problem, without realizing that we have to reconnect with the being that is Earth, with Earth Mother, and with all of the beings of the rivers and the forests and the mountains. It's about shifting from a mindset of commodifying nature to connecting again in a very intimate way. And that memory is still alive here. We still worship our Mother Ganga. So how can we bring that knowledge to the rest of the world and help people see that the rivers are alive? And they're not commodities, and the forests are alive, and the mountains are alive, and all that. So I see the story of Sita as being very relevant to the ecological crisis that we face, the ecological climate crisis that we face. And so my work has focused on that. So in the last 3 years, we've gone to each region of the world, bringing together young ecologists from beginning in Africa to the Americas, Europe, the Middle East, Asia, and now we're doing this just for India. After our conference on Sita, we're having a conference of young ecologists from throughout India who are working on water issues, energy issues, development issues, and they will come to the Sita conference to talk about awakening this love again for Mother Earth, for Vasundharama, and for the rivers and all of the natural forces, life forces. So that's a little bit of where we're going. I began this work. I saw the need to bring spiritual energy to places of conflict. But now we've moved on from that to see that the deepest conflict is the conflict with the earth. And that we have to, until we can solve that problem, there is a relationship between the violence against the earth and the violence against women, the violence against other people of different ethnic, religious backgrounds. This violence gene is what we have to address, and it's expressing itself in so many forms now. So that's how my work has evolved, beginning in places of conflict and now traveling the world, trying to awaken again this love for the earth, and to bring forth some of the ancient wisdom that has gotten buried in the darker times that we've faced as a human community throughout our history. But now I feel there is an awakening going on. There is a spiritual awakening, and so we have to bring back some of the knowledge that has been buried. And that knowledge begins with awakening again our love for all of the life forces and seeing the life forms as just expressions of the one divine being. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit.